Imagine a stack of $1,000 bills. And I mean, not neatly packed inside an aluminum briefcase from some spy movie.
Right.
Picture that stack of currency standing on the ground, reaching up and up until it hits 42 meters high.
Which, just for context, is taller than your average 14-story residential building.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You are looking at a sheer, solid monolith of paper currency. And this isn't some theoretical visualization of national debt. It is the literal physical equivalent of 420 million new Taiwan dollars.
Yeah.
And it represents the exact amount of cold, hard cash a single buyer recently dropped on a luxury property in Taipei. No mortgages, no bank financing, just unadulterated cash.
It's wild to even conceptualize.
It is. And if that sounds like, an anomaly, another buyer literally just executed the exact same play, dropping 840 million NTD in pure cash for 2 floors of premium real estate.
Well, what we are witnessing right there is really the operational mechanics of a completely parallel economic universe.
Yeah, totally.
Because, I mean, when you look at the broader housing market in Taiwan right now, it is effectively frozen.
Right, because of the credit tightening.
Exactly. The central bank has instituted these severe credit tightening policies just to cool off speculation. So the average home buyer is locked out by strict lending limits.
Yeah.
Yet, in this top-tier echelon, buyers are just neutralizing the entire concept of a central bank by simply waving away the need for leverage entirely.
Which is crazy. And that parallel universe is exactly what we are decoding in today's deep dive. Welcome, by the way. I'm so glad you're joining us for this.
It's a fascinating topic.
It really is, because the way this super elite tier of wealth is moving its capital, it isn't just a quirk of the real estate market. It is actively reshaping city skylines, upending the global hospitality industry, and completely rewriting urban economics for all of us.
Yeah, the ripple effects are massive.
They are, and I've been going through a massive stack of intelligence to track this today. Specifically, we've got the 2026 Asia-branded residences market review by C9 HotelWorks. We have a Bloomberg-style hotel market analysis of Singapore and Hong Kong from Global Asset Solutions.
That one is super revealing.
Oh, absolutely. Plus the latest centimillionaire demographic data and even some architectural blueprints for Taipei's impending super luxury boom.
And when you synthesize all of this, a very clear, maybe slightly intimidating picture emerges of how global capital physically manifests in our cities.
Intimidating is the right word. Where do we even start?
Well, the data points are disparate on the surface, right? You've got hotel occupancy rates over here, condo sales, concert ticket revenues.
Right, it seems disconnected.
But the underlying current is identical. Capital of this magnitude doesn't just sit, it seeks harbor. And right now, the harbor of choice is heavily concentrated in very specific urban centers. If we start with those cash purchases in Taipei, we have to look at the geographical wealth distribution. So the 2024 Sentai Millionaire Report defines this tier clearly. We're talking about individuals holding over 100 million US dollars in liquid investable assets.
So not just paper wealth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You aren't talking about paper wealth tied up in illiquid startup shares. This is liquid capital.
Real money. And globally, that demographic is sitting at 29,350 individuals, which, by the way, is a 54% jump over the last decade.
A massive acceleration.
Yeah. And the top of the list is exactly what you would expect, right? New York City, the Bay Area, Los Angeles, London, and Singapore. The historical fortresses of global finance and tech.
Sure.
But the Taipei data in this report really caught my eye because it feels like a massive undercount, to be honest.
Oh, totally.
Like, officially, Taipei ranks 39th with 82 Sentai millionaires. But the analysts themselves attach a massive asterisk to that number.
They have to. I mean, 100 million US dollars translates to roughly 3 billion new Taiwan dollars.
Right.
Given Taiwan's near monopoly on high-end semiconductor manufacturing and the explosion of the global AI supply chain, there are far more than 82 people sitting on that kind of liquidity.
Absolutely. The tech wealth there is staggering.
And the report projects Taipei's ultra-wealthy population to grow by over 150% by 2040.
Wow. 150%.
Yeah. The current data really just reflects reported wealth, but much of the localized tech wealth in Taiwan remains highly discreet. They keep a low profile.
Right.
But the crucial element here is the macroeconomic environment. We are operating in a cycle characterized by sticky inflation and a high interest rate environment.
Okay, so how does that connect to the real estate?
Well, if you hold hundreds of millions in liquid capital, Leaving it in fiat currency is a guaranteed loss of purchasing power over time.
Ah, inflation just eats it.
Exactly. It has to be deployed defensively.
Which brings us back to the 42-meter stack of cash. Buying real estate in what the Taiwanese market calls egg yolk districts.
Right, the prime spots.
Yeah, the absolute hyper-prime, unreplicable core areas like the Xinyi district or right on Dian Forest Park. It isn't actually about housing at all.
Not even a little bit.
When a buyer bypasses a bank to drop $800 million on a unit in One Park, Taipei, they are essentially treating a luxury skyscraper like a giant concrete savings account.
It is defensive wealth management masquerading as luxury living.
That's a great way to put it.
Real estate in an egg yolk district provides a tangible, scarce asset that historically outpaces inflation. And executing the transaction in pure cash is actually a strategic weapon.
How so?
Well, in a tight credit market where sellers are worried about a buyer's financing falling through, an all-cash offer eliminates friction.
Oh, because there's no bank appraisal to worry about.
Right. It guarantees a fast, seamless close, which often allows the buyer to secure highly coveted assets that rarely even hit the public market.
That makes total sense. But concentrated wealth of this magnitude acts like a gravitational anomaly. It pulls other massive forces toward it.
It absolutely does.
So if there is this much untethered, tech-driven cash floating around Taipei, global luxury hospitality should logically be swarming the city.
You think so?
Right. Yet there has been a glaring absence. I mean, Four Seasons is arguably the global standard for ultra-luxury hospitality, and they are only opening their first Taipei location right now, slated for 2026.
Yeah, it's quite late to the party.
For a city with this much quiet wealth, that delay is baffling. Why did they wait so long?
Well, the delay stems from how international luxury brands historically categorized Taipei.
Oh,
For decades, Taipei was viewed as a very strong regional player.
okay.
But it lacked the constant high-velocity churn of global executives and international elites that define a Singapore or a Hong Kong.
Oh, I see.
But the AI boom and the restructuring of global supply chains fundamentally altered that equation. Taipei finally crossed a critical threshold of global relevance.
So the executives are finally flying in.
Exactly. But the actual origin story of this specific Four Seasons development, it reveals a massive shift in how local developers are weighing prestige against pure financial yield.
Oh, the real estate mechanics behind this specific hotel are fascinating.
They really are.
So the developer is Yuan Li Construction, headed by Lin Ming-shung, who is also the chairman of PX Mart. They acquired a plot of land directly opposite Taipei 101,
Prime location.
the ultimate location. The plot is 1,552 ping. And for you listening, if you're unfamiliar with Taiwanese measurements, a ping is about 3.3 square meters.
So it's huge.
Yeah, we are talking about roughly 5,100 square meters. That's over an acre and a quarter of untouched, hyper-prime real estate in the middle of the most expensive district in the country.
And what's crazy is the original blueprint for this site was a commercial office tower.
Right, which, from a pure fiduciary standpoint, is the logical move, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Building a grade A office tower opposite Taipei 101 is as close to a guaranteed high-margin annuity as you can get in commercial real estate.
Because you just rent it out and forget it.
Basically, you lease it to multinational tech firms, semiconductor design houses, global banks, and you collect steady, predictable rent with very low operational overhead compared to running a hotel.
Yeah, running a hotel is a nightmare of logistics. And Lin Ming-sung even admitted publicly that the office tower would have generated a significantly higher, more stable yield.
He knew the math.
He knew the math. But Four Seasons approached them proactively. They wanted that specific location. And the developer pivoted. They sacrificed the higher guaranteed yield of the office building to construct a 30 billion NTD hotel.
Which is an enormous financial sacrifice just for prestige.
Right. Why do that?
It is a calculated pivot from pure financial yield to legacy and global positioning. Partnering with the Four Seasons on a 30 billion NTD build isn't just about the quarterly balance sheet. It functions as a global billboard.
A billboard for the city or the developer?
Both. It signals to international markets that Taiwan has secured its position on the ultimate luxury stage. And for the developer, it secures a legacy that an anonymous glass office building never could.
That makes sense.
And crucially, they are capitalizing the project heavily to ensure the physical asset matches that ambition.
Yeah, the architectural details and the blueprints confirm they are not cutting a single corner here.
Oh, the design team is elite.
They brought in RSHP, the firm founded by the late Pritzker laureate Richard Rogers, the same minds behind the Centre Pompidou in Paris and One Hyde Park in London.
Heavy hitters.
And the interior is handled by Jabu Puschelberg, who essentially write the modern playbook for high-end hospitality design. We are looking at a 180-meter tall, 31-story tower with 260 rooms.
The engineering specifics are really where you see the long-term investment, though.
Right.
Like they are utilizing ultra-clear, low-E glass for the exterior envelope.
Which is critical in Taiwan.
Oh, absolutely.
Because a low E or low emissivity glass, it has this microscopic coating that reflects infrared light. When you build a 31-story glass tower in a subtropical climate with brutal summer heat, it can easily become a greenhouse.
Yeah, the AC costs would be astronomical.
Exactly. It would cause your HVAC cost to completely destroy your profit margins. Low E glass allows the visible light in but bounces the heat radiation away, which ties directly into their push for Green Building Gold and LEED Silver certifications.
They're also integrating landscape elevators and what the architects call three spatial gestures.
Spatial gestures. I love architect speak. What does that mean?
Basically, connecting with the street level, integrating with the surrounding Chinese skyline, and then a top-floor sky space designed to visually engage with the mountain ranges that frame Taipei.
Wow.
But the Four Seasons isn't an isolated anomaly. It is just the leading edge of a massive, sudden influx of ultra-luxury hospitality entering Taipei.
Right. The pipeline over the next few years is totally packed.
Okay.
We have Capella and Park Hyatt entering the market now in 2024. Andaz is slated for 2025, then the Four Seasons in 2026, and Kempinski arriving by 2027.
It's a gold rush.
It is, but I have to push back on the underlying economics here for a second.
Okay, go for it.
We just established that an office tower yields better returns. Lin Mingxiong admitted it.
He did.
So why are multiple developers suddenly rushing to build ultra-luxury hotels? Prestige explains one flagship project for one billionaire, but it doesn't explain half a dozen multi-billion-dollar developments in a 4-year window.
Right, Prestige doesn't scale like that.
Exactly. What is the hidden return on investment that justifies this kind of capital allocation across the board?
Well, the justification requires looking beyond the hotel as a standalone entity. The entire development model for large-scale urban real estate has shifted entirely.
Okay.
Developers are moving away from passive asset holding, just collecting office rent. They are aggressively pursuing what the industry sources term operating real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Or in the Taiwanese context, they call it super tourism real estate.
Operating real estate. So shifting the perspective from I own a building that people sleep in to I own a platform that continuously extracts revenue from every minute of the consumer's day.
Exactly. The hotel is no longer the final product. It is a vital node in a much larger closed-loop economic engine.
Okay, I see.
The most prominent example in the sources, and arguably the most visible in Taiwan right now, is the Taipei Dome ecosystem.
Oh, the Taipei Dome. I mean, for a decade, the Taipei Dome was just a highly controversial construction site for a baseball stadium.
A massive headache for the city.
Yeah, but looking at the final footprint now, the stadium is almost just the anchor tenant for a massive corporate ecosystem. Integrated into the exact same complex is a 200-room intercontinental hotel, a massive multi-level retail mall, and commercial office space.
Right. It is engineered from the ground up to capture the entirety of a visitor's economic output.
So let's trace that. Trace the consumer journey in that closed loop.
Okay, so an international visitor flies in for a major concert at the 40,000-seat arena.
Sure.
They check into the Intercontinental, which is structurally connected to the venue. They dine at a high-end restaurant in the mall before the event. They attend the concert. They return to the hotel bar, sleep, shop the next morning, and leave for the airport.
Wow, so they never leave the building.
Never. And the developer, through their various operating arms or lease agreements, has captured the hotel room rate, the food and beverage margin, the retail percentage rent, and the arena ticketing or leasing fee.
That is brilliant.
The visitor never needed to interact with the broader economy of Taipei. They stayed within the developer's walled garden.
It is essentially building a massive cruise ship on dry land.
That's a perfect analogy.
You board the vessel, you have your entertainment on deck 4, your Michelin-starred dinner on deck 2, your luxury cabin on deck 8, and the ship's operator captures every single dollar you spend until you disembark.
Yes.
And this model is rapidly expanding past Taipei, too. The sources detail a 60 billion NTD Superdome project in Taichung.
Backed by CTBC Financial.
Yeah, backed by CTBC Financial.
But,
And it
wow.
mirrors this exact blueprint. a 45,000-seat arena flanked by 2 luxury hotels and a massive retail complex. And in the south, Kaohsiung is aggressively developing its harbor and cruise infrastructure to build similar integrated entertainment zones.
And this is really just Taiwan adopting a globally proven playbook.
Right, because this exists elsewhere.
Oh, totally. The
Mhm.
sources draw direct parallels to massive international success stories. Marina Bay Sands in Singapore is kind of the ultimate manifestation of
Oh,
this.
yeah, the boat on top of the 3 towers.
Exactly. It combines a casino, massive convention spaces, luxury retail, and thousands of hotel rooms into a singular, highly profitable entity.
And people go to Singapore just to stay there.
Exactly. And you see similar dynamics with the SoFi Stadium Entertainment District in Los Angeles or the Roppongi Hills development in Tokyo, which seamlessly blends high-end commercial, residential, retail, and hospitality.
But, and here is the big but, building a land-based cruise ship is a massive financial gamble if you can't convince people to buy a ticket.
That's the risk.
Taiwan is building these massive luxury infrastructures, but they are stepping into an arena with established heavyweights. To understand if this will actually work, we need to look at the macro data from the Global Asset Solutions report.
Right, the Bloomberg-style comparative analysis.
Exactly. We have to see how Taiwan stacks up against the titans of the region, namely Singapore and Hong Kong.
To contextualize the Asian market, we really need a global baseline first.
Okay, hit me with the numbers.
So the SDR data for the first quarter of 2024 shows Paris operating with an average daily rate, or ADR, of $309 US.
Okay.
New York is at $231. Dubai is at $226. These are the historical benchmarks for global luxury gateway cities.
All right, so keeping those baselines in mind, the data on Singapore is genuinely staggering.
It really is.
In Q1 2024, Singapore achieved an 83.8% occupancy rate across its market, but more importantly, their average daily rate hit $314 US.
They are officially charging more for an average hotel room than Paris.
Let that sink in for a second. How did a city-state engineer an ADR that beats the literal capital of global luxury?
Well, they executed an absolute masterclass in alignment between aggressive government strategy and private sector infrastructure.
What did they do?
The report explicitly highlights what they call the Swiftonomics effect.
Oh, Taylor Swift.
Exactly. The Singaporean government didn't just passively hope major tours would visit. They proactively subsidized and negotiated exclusive regional rights for mega events like Taylor Swift and Coldplay.
Wait, exclusive rights?
Yes, they effectively instituted a non-compete clause for the entire region. If you lived in Bangkok, Jakarta, or Manila, and you wanted to see those shows, you had no choice but to fly into Changi Airport, book a Singaporean hotel, and spend money in their domestic economy.
It's an incredible deployment of soft power and hard economics. They force the entire region's disposable income through their own national funnel.
It's brilliant. And they paired this event-driven demand with a completely seamless recovery of their air traffic capacity post-pandemic.
So it was easy to get there.
Very easy. They made the logistics of arriving, staying, and spending frictionless for high-net-worth individuals. The result is undeniable. In 2023, Singapore's luxury RevPAR, which stands for revenue per available room.
Right, which accounts for both rate and occupancy.
Yes, it's the truest metric of hotel profitability. Their luxury RevPAR hit a record high of $282 US.
So Singapore is currently the undisputed champion of the region. But now, let's pivot to Hong Kong, because the contrast in the STR data is brutal.
It's a completely different story.
For mid-scale, budget-conscious hotels, Hong Kong is surviving. They are hovering around 88% occupancy. But the pure luxury sector, the hotels demanding over $385 US a night, is suffocating.
Yeah, their numbers are bad.
Their occupancy rates are wildly inconsistent, fluctuating between 45% and 70%. Literally half of their luxury inventory is sitting empty on any given night.
Which is disastrous.
Mm.
Hong Kong is trapped in a perfect storm of macroeconomic headwinds. And the primary driver is currency mechanics.
The peg.
Yes, the Hong Kong dollar is pegged to the US dollar. Over the past few years, the US dollar has maintained historic strength, which artificially inflates the value of the Hong Kong dollar against regional currencies.
Let's break down how that actually impacts the hospitality market on the ground for you listening. Historically, Hong Kong's absolute primary source of tourism revenue is mainland China. But if the Hong Kong dollar is incredibly strong against the Chinese yuan, what does that do to the purchasing power of the average Chinese tourist?
It decimates it. Hong Kong has suddenly become prohibitively expensive for its core demographic.
Because their money is worth less there?
Exactly. The exchange rate alone acts as a massive premium on every transaction. A luxury handbag, a Michelin-starred dinner, a five-star hotel room, they all cost significantly more, simply because the yuan doesn't go as far.
Wow.
But the currency peg creates a secondary, equally damaging effect. It incentivizes a massive surge in outbound travel from Hong Kong residents.
Oh, because they realize their artificially strong currency makes them incredibly wealthy the moment they leave their own borders.
Precisely. Why pay exorbitant local prices when you can take your strong Hong Kong dollars and travel to Japan, where the yen is sitting at historic lows?
Or travel across the border into Shenzhen.
Exactly. The services in Shenzhen are rapidly improving, but cost a fraction of the price. So Hong Kong is bleeding its primary incoming tourist demographic while simultaneously hemorrhaging its own domestic spending base to cheaper neighboring markets.
And that operational bleeding immediately infects the capital markets, doesn't it?
Oh, right away.
Because the report shows that the transaction market for buying and selling hotels in Hong Kong has effectively completely stalled. The underlying math of commercial real estate just doesn't work right now.
It's a fundamental breakdown of the yield spread.
Explain that.
Okay, to put it in perspective, let's say an investor wants to buy a luxury hotel in Hong Kong. The current capitalization rate, the cap rate, which is the property's net operating income divided by its purchase price, is hovering around 3% to 4%.
Okay, so if you buy a building for $100 million, it generates $3 to $4 million in profit a year.
Right, which sounds fine until you look at the cost of the money you used to buy it.
The debt.
Yeah. The report notes that commercial debt costs in Hong Kong are sitting at 7% or higher, and private debt is pushing into the low double digits.
Okay, wait. If your asset generates a 4% return, but the bank charges you 7% interest on the loan, you are bleeding 3% of your capital every single year just to hold the building.
It is financial suicide.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Consequently, investors are abandoning the traditional hospitality model in Hong Kong. The data shows a growing trend of opportunistic capital, acquiring these distressed, underperforming hotels and radically pivoting their use.
Pivoting to what?
Specifically converting them into student housing, which offers a more stable, predictable yield in a volatile market.
Converting a former luxury asset into a dorm room is the ultimate distress signal for a market.
It really is.
So within this battlefield, Singapore soaring on exclusive mega events and Hong Kong drowning in a currency peg, where does Taipei actually position itself with these new 60 billion NTD megadomes and the Four Seasons?
Taipei is attempting to thread the needle. They do not have their currency pegged to the US dollar, which gives them immense flexibility.
Right.
The new Taiwan dollar can remain competitively priced for international tourists, totally avoiding the trap Hong Kong is in.
Okay.
By building the Taipei Dome, the Taichung Superdome, and bringing in this tidal wave of ultra-luxury brands, they are aggressively trying to replicate the Singapore magic.
Using their local wealth.
Yes. They are leveraging the immense localized wealth generated by the AI supply chain to fund the infrastructure, with the ultimate goal of siphoning off that global elite traveler market from both of their regional rivals.
It is a high-stakes, multi-billion-dollar battle for the ultra-wealthy transient demographic.
High stakes for sure.
But this raises a fascinating question regarding the evolution of this wealth. What happens when these super rich individuals decide that simply visiting these luxury ecosystems isn't enough? What happens when checking out of the hotel is no longer an option they want to entertain?
Oh, well, that phenomenon is currently driving the most explosive sector in luxury real estate today.
We are looking at the massive systemic rise of branded residences.
Yes.
And the data on this from the C9 Hotel Works report is staggering. The global branded residences market hit $67 billion in 2023. By 2026, it is projected to scale to $87 billion.
Huge growth.
In Asia alone, the current development pipeline for 2026 is valued at $40 billion. That represents over 50,000 individual units.
Right. We are no longer talking about a niche boutique product for a few eccentric billionaires. This is a massive institutionalized asset class.
Exactly. So let's break down exactly what this product is. We aren't just talking about buying a nice condo near a hotel, are we?
No, not at all. The integration is much deeper than that.
How so?
At its core, purchasing a branded residence, which, by the way, 94% of the time globally, takes the form of a condominium rather than a standalone villa.
Good to know.
It means buying real estate that is legally and operationally bound to a globally recognized brand. Historically, these are elite, Hospitality brands like Ritz-Carlton, St. Regis, or Four Seasons.
Right.
You hold the deed to a private residence, but you are buying access to a highly regulated service ecosystem.
It's the ultimate commodification of daily life. You get a private kitchen, but you also have the Four Seasons room service available 204/7.
Exactly.
You have hotel-grade security, private chefs on call, housekeeping that operates to a global standard, and a dedicated concierge who manages your entire life.
And buyers are willing to pay an unbelievable premium for that ecosystem.
Yeah, the data indicates that buyers willingly swallow a 30% to 35% price premium on the real estate, simply because that brand name is attached to the deed.
Because they are paying a 35% premium for the total eradication of friction in their daily lives.
Right.
The brand guarantees a specific, unvarying standard of existence.
But the C9 HotelWorks data points to a radical evolution in how these properties are being deployed, because historically, the model was co-located.
Meaning built together.
Yeah. You build a 60-story tower, the bottom 30 floors are the commercial hotel, and the top 30 floors are the branded residences. And they share the lobby, the spa, and the staff.
But the pipeline data shows a rapid decoupling of that model. Currently, 17% of the incoming Asian supply is categorized as standalone.
Meaning there's no hotel attached whatsoever.
None.
It is purely a residential building run by the hospitality brand.
Yes. And this standalone model unlocks prime residential neighborhoods where zoning laws or sheer land costs would absolutely prohibit building a massive 300-room commercial hotel.
Ah, clever.
A brand can drop a boutique 50-unit residential tower into a hyper-exclusive neighborhood and immediately establish a footprint.
But the most disruptive data point in the standalone sector isn't the hotel brands, it's who else is entering the space.
Oh, yeah.
This was the most surprising revelation in the sources for me. 19% of these standalone branded residences have absolutely nothing to do with hospitality companies. Brands that have never managed a hotel are building residential empires.
The breakdown of that 19% is deeply indicative of where luxury consumption is heading.
Okay, break it down.
59% of these non-hospitality residences are branded by high-end design or furniture companies, like Yo-Yo.
Okay.
Another 40% are driven by fashion and haute couture houses. We are seeing massive developments branded by Elie Saab, Armani Casa, and Bulgari.
Wow.
And then occupying the final 1%, you have the automotive brands, which push the concept of brand immersion to its absolute physical limits.
And the prime example being the Porsche Design Tower in Miami. I mean, this isn't a building where the developer just slapped a Porsche logo on the front door and put some leather couches in the lobby.
No.
The entire architecture of the building is dictated by the automotive brand identity. They engineered specialized robotic car elevators.
It's completely absurd in the best way.
You pull your 911 into the ground floor. The elevator system physically lifts your car up the exterior of the building and deposits it into a glass-walled garage located directly inside your living room on the 40th floor.
Inside your living room.
Yes. It is the absolute apex of brand immersion.
It appeals to a buyer who views their vehicle not as transportation, but as a central component of their identity and aesthetic environment.
Right.
But to understand why tens of billions of dollars are suddenly flooding into this specific asset class globally, we really have to look at the shifting demographics driving the demand.
Who is buying these?
Well, the sources identify two distinct, highly capitalized groups. The first is the rapidly expanding, ultra-wealthy aging population.
And to be clear, we aren't talking about traditional assisted living or luxury retirement communities here.
Far from it. We're talking about individuals with immense wealth who are aging but absolutely refuse to compromise their lifestyle or independence.
Right.
As they age, the friction of managing a large primary estate becomes a burden, and the requirements for security and passive healthcare monitoring naturally increase.
So what does a branded residence offer them?
A turnkey, elegant solution. You own a private, luxurious home, but the built-in concierge ecosystem can seamlessly coordinate private medical transport, manage daily logistics, and provide the unobtrusive security of a five-star hotel.
So it's essentially aging in place, but with room service.
Exactly. It wraps the necessary support structures of aging in the uncompromising aesthetics of ultra-luxury hospitality.
It's the perfect safety net that doesn't feel like a safety net.
Precisely.
Now, the second demographic driving this boom is almost the mirror opposite in terms of lifestyle, the post-pandemic digital nomad. But again, we really have to calibrate our definitions here. We aren't talking about 25-year-olds working from a coffee shop in Bali.
No, this is the C-suite nomad.
Exactly.
The remote work revolution fundamentally decoupled executive management and tech entrepreneurs from centralized headquarters. These individuals possess the capital to live anywhere on the planet, but they cannot afford infrastructure failure.
Right. A poorly managed building or a compromised internet connection literally costs them money.
A lot of money. So buying a Marriott or Hilton branded residence in Dubai or Phuket is essentially an insurance policy on their productivity.
It guarantees a globally standardized environment. They know the fiber optic network will hold up during a board meeting, the business center is secure, and the concierge can handle international logistics regardless of which time zone they are in.
And this untethering of the workforce perfectly explains the massive geographic shift we are seeing in the development pipeline.
Because they don't need to be in New York or London anymore.
Exactly. Before 2025, 84% of all branded residences were built in traditional urban financial centers. But looking forward, 61% of the new global pipeline is located in resort destinations.
61%. That is a massive flip.
Capital is flowing away from the traditional urban core. The Vietnamese market is exploding, rapidly approaching an $8 billion valuation for branded residences.
Wow.
Thailand is developing incredibly sophisticated, bifurcated markets. Like in Phuket, developers are focusing on low-density, hyper-exclusive boutique resort residences integrated with the natural environment.
Okay, and the other side.
Conversely, in Manila, the focus is on high-density, branded urban towers, catering to a completely different segment of regional wealth.
Interesting.
We are also seeing a massive surge in what they call drive-to destinations.
Meaning you don't have to fly there.
Right. Locations within a 3-hour radius of major metropolitan hubs, like Hua Hin in Thailand. Designed specifically to capture weekend getaway capital from executives who maintain a primary residence in the city.
As the geography of these developments shifts, the underlying financial mechanics between the buyers and the brands are also fundamentally restructuring, aren't they?
Totally rewriting the rules.
Because historically, if you bought a branded residence in a resort location like Phuket, you were essentially forced into a mandatory rental pool.
Right, it was non-negotiable.
You could use the property for maybe 30 days a year, and the rest of the time, the hotel brand rented it out to tourists and split the revenue with you. It was structured primarily as an investment vehicle.
But the C9 HotelWorks report identifies a massive industry-wide pivot away from that model. The market is shifting heavily toward optional participation.
Why the change?
Buyers are pushing back against mandatory rental pools because they are prioritizing maximum lifestyle flexibility and long-term asset preservation over chasing a 4% annual rental yield.
They don't need the 4%.
Exactly. They want the option to leave the condo empty for 6 months without the wear and tear of transient hotel guests messing up their furniture.
And when they do choose to put the unit in the rental pool, the way the money is divided has completely changed. We are seeing a transition from a top-line gross revenue split to a bottom-line net operating income or NOI split.
This is a crucial distinction.
Let's break down why that is such a massive shift for the buyer.
Okay, it changes the entire transparency of the operation. So in a traditional gross split, if the hotel rents your condo for $1,000 a night, they might take 50% and give you 50%. You get $500.
Sounds fair on the surface.
Right. But the hotel is on the hook for all the operational costs, the housekeeping, the marketing, the booking fees.
Yeah.
If those costs total $400, the hotel only actually netted $100. Well, you made $500.
Oh, I see.
It creates friction. The hotel feels like they're doing all the work for a fraction of the profit. Moving to a net operating income split means the hotel takes that $1,000, explicitly subtracts the actual audited costs of servicing that room, say the $400, and then you split the remaining $600 of pure profit.
So it forces total financial transparency. The buyer gets to see exactly what it costs to run their unit.
Yes.
But it also shifts a massive amount of auditing and operational complexity onto the management companies who now have to justify every single line item of expenditure to a very wealthy, very demanding owner.
It really is a maturation of the asset class. The buyers are treating these residences not just as second homes, but as sophisticated operational businesses. And they are demanding the financial structures reflect that reality.
That is fascinating, which kind of brings us full circle on this massive journey.
It really does.
We started this deep dive looking at a literal 42-meter-high tower of physical currency being deployed into Taipei real estate as a defense mechanism against inflation.
Yep.
We saw how that localized concentration of AI-driven wealth acted as a gravitational pull, forcing global luxury titans like the Four Seasons to finally enter the market.
And changing the developer mindset from building static office towers to engineering these massive closed-loop operating real estate ecosystems like the Taipei Dome.
Exactly. We tracked how that infrastructure forced Taipei into a brutal, high-stakes, macroeconomic battle against Singapore's event-driven mastery and Hong Kong's struggle with punitive currency pegs.
And ultimately, we traced how all of this global capital converges on the branded residence. The exact point where hard real estate, ultra-luxury hospitality, and personal lifestyle fuse into a single, highly commodified product.
And it is essential to internalize why these macroeconomic shifts matter to anyone listening, even if you are not currently shopping for a Porsche design apartment with a robotic car elevator.
I mean, most of us aren't.
Right. But these silent, massive flows of global capital are the architectural blueprints for the future of our cities. They dictate which skylines are funded, which neighborhoods are gentrified, and what kind of public or private spaces are constructed.
Exactly. When developers realize they can capture more revenue by building a closed-loop land cruise ship instead of an open-air public retail district, the literal geometry of the city changes.
This top-tier wealth acts as the tectonic plates of urban development. You might never see the plates shifting deep underground, but you absolutely feel the earthquakes, the infrastructure changes, and the economic ripples on the surface where the rest of us live.
The physical environment we navigate daily is simply a delayed manifestation of where this capital decided to park itself 5 years ago.
Exactly. We are living inside the aftermath of these ledgers. Which leaves me with one final, slightly provocative thought for you to take away. We've watched hospitality brands successfully take over the residential market. Now, we are watching non-hospitality brands, Porsche, Armani, Elisab, successfully execute the exact same playbook. As our private homes become increasingly digitized, entirely reliant on smart tech, integrated health monitors, and automated systems. How long until the ultimate tech giants decide to build their own physical residential ecosystem?
Yeah, wow.
Imagine living in an Apple residence or a Google tower, a physical structure where your home's operating system isn't just software running on a device in your pocket, but the actual physical building itself. The walls, the biometric security, the climate control, the predictive health algorithms, the services, all seamlessly physically integrated into one inescapable corporate ecosystem.
That is slightly terrifying.
If the data shows that ultra-wealthy buyers are gleefully willing to pay a 35% premium just to live inside the Marriott ecosystem, what kind of premium would they pay to live permanently inside the Apple ecosystem? At what point does the brand end and your private, untracked life begin? It's something to think about the next time you walk past a massive construction site in your city. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the hidden forces shaping your world, and we will see you next time.